Welcome back to the second video in our exciting series on working with the ChatGPT API for developers. In the previous video, we got a high-level view of how to make an API request, but now it's time to dive into the nitty-gritty details. In each video of the series, we'll be focusing on the code. Today, we'll be exploring the initial parts of the code, such as the endpoint and the JSON header. These elements are crucial because they help us in establishing a communication with the API, and they also help us to set the stage for successful interactions. Let's look at endpoint configuration, JSON headers, and the wonders of Playground. Don't worry if you didn't catch every detail in the previous video. We will be breaking it down step by step. Let's have a quick recap of the steps that we covered in the previous video on how to make an API request. Step 1, install the OpenAI library by running the command pip install OpenAI either in your terminal or in the command prompt. Now you have the necessary package to interact with the OpenAI API. Step 2, set up your API key. We have already got it from the OpenAI website. Ensure that you have stored it securely because that's need to be included to authenticate your request to the API. Step 3, make the API request. Now we have the OpenAI library installed. We have the API key set up. Now we have to start interacting with the API. For this, we need the appropriate endpoint, data, and parameters. We need to send a request and receive a response. Remember, each step is crucial. Ensure that you have the library installed, your API key properly set up, and your API request constructed correctly. In the previous video, we provided you with a code example to demonstrate how to make an API request using the GPT 3.5 Turbo model. You can view the code snippet on the screen. You can also take it from the GitHub repository, which is given in the description link. This provided code demonstrates an API request. The request is based on the prompt, "What is Python?" and we use a temperature parameter of 0.7. Let's not worry about this now. This will be handled in the future videos. As the first step, let's look at the model endpoint. The URL api.openai.com/v1/chat/completions is the endpoint of the OpenAI API. This specific endpoint we use to make requests when we want to generate completions or responses from the ChatGPT model. This URL allows developers to utilize the OpenAI API to interact specifically with the ChatGPT model and get the responses to the prompts that we sent. To understand better, let's go to platform.openai.com. In the documentation tab, move to the model section. This lists the various models that are available in OpenAI API. In this video series, we focus only on the ChatGPT models. And there are two ChatGPT models, which is GPT-4 and GPT 3.5. And we are concerned about the GPT 3.5 models. Please remember that it is a set of models, so there are many models inside this. And among these models, as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models. GPT 3.5 Turbo is the one which we will use in our code. And among all the models, this is the most capable and cost-efficient one, as mentioned here. And that is the reason we are using the GPT 3.5 Turbo model. It is important to mention that there are other models like GPT 3.5 Turbo 0301, Text DaVinci 003, Text DaVinci 002, and Code DaVinci 002. Each model has its own set of capabilities and compatibility. We are particularly interested in the model endpoint capability, which you can see in model capability. There are two endpoints that we are really concerned about, which is the v1/chat/completions and v1/completions. We have used v1/chat/completions in our code, but there is a similar endpoint, which is v1/completions, and the models that are associated with them are also different. We used v1/chat/completions, and so we used GPT 3.5 Turbo. So remember, the endpoint you use and the model name are to be considered. Let's take a moment to introduce the powerful tool called the Playground. You can see the Playground tab here. This allows us to explore the functionality of the completions endpoint. In the Playground, you can see that there are 4 modes available. Let's focus on the complete mode. This represents the completions endpoint. This model or this mode is suitable for generating text based on a singleton prompt. So let's see what it means. Let's say, hi, my name is Rose. And if I submit, it says, hi, Rose, nice to meet you. Have a look at the models that are available for the complete endpoint. There are quite a lot of models available, and you will notice that there is no GPT 3.5 model available here. Now let me remove all this and ask, can you recollect my name? And say submit. It says, no, I cannot recollect your name without knowing it. Now let me do something else. Change the mode to chat mode. And here as a user, let me say, hi, my name is Rose. And submit. It says, hello, Rose, how can I assist you today? And let me say, can you recollect my name? And submit. It says, yes, your name is Rose. Now, this is the major difference between complete and chat mode. Complete mode is similar to our completions endpoint, and the chat mode is the chat/completions endpoint. As you can see, both can be used for text generation, but completions endpoint is more suitable for singleton prompts. In other words, for text completion alone. While chat/completions is designed specifically for multi-turn conversations where it maintains the context and can simulate interactive conversations with the model. We just saw it using Playground, the difference between chat completions and completions. Now let's open the ChatGPT interface that we can use for free and give the same input, hello, my name is Rose, and then ask, can you recollect my name? See that it responds with the name because it could view the context. So the one that we are looking here is a chat kind of a model. And we have already seen that this is the major difference between chat/completions and the completions endpoint. Based on our discussion so far, it is important to specify the correct endpoint and the model in our API request. This model information we provide in the data dictionary or the payload of the request. Make sure to refer to the documentation and provide the appropriate values for the endpoint and model We have been using the term payload quite often in this video. Payload generally refers to the actual data or content that we are sending via the JSON object. In other words, it's the information that the JSON object carries. We will end this video with a look at the header. The code we provided shows a dictionary called headers with two key value pairs. Content type takes the value application/JSON. This specifies the type of content that we are sending as request, and in this case we are sending a JSON data. This informs the server that the payload of the request is formatted as a JSON. The second is authorization. This is used for authentication and authorization purpose. It has an authorization token in the request header. This token we get by concatenating the string bearer with the openai.api_key value, or you can give the string directly. With this, we conclude our video, and in the future videos, we'll start looking at the payload JSON and the response JSON. Thank you.